Hey guys, super secret intro here before we get started. As you'll find out in a sec, Joey's not here. Also, spoiler, Joey doesn't watch any of our videos, so he won't know about this. Joey's in California, but as of right now, he doesn't want to go to the GP because he doesn't want to drive that far. So I need you guys to for the couple of you that actually will, you need to spam the comments and stuff and be like, Joey, you need to go to the GP and stuff. So that we can show him the comments of the video and be like, Joey, look, everyone wants you to go, and he'll melt
and if
under
one
pressure.
of you, and if one of you would at least make the post, whoever's the first one, say, hey guys, like my post if you want Joey at the next GP in California, and we'll pin that post so everybody liking it, you can see the numbers in the like section.
Yeah, and
right.
So this is super secret, except for all of you that are about to comment. It's only kind of secret. It's secret that we told you. Just pretend it was supernatural that you want Joey to go to GP.
Now to the show.
And also tell him to record everything. Okay. Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome to a new podcast. This time with just me and
Oscar.
We have one less Joey and no substitute this time. So we'll see how much better the podcast is this time around.
Yeah, we haven't done this, I don't think, since episode 1 when we kind of rebooted this whole thing.
I think we did it once.
Did we?
Or at least for the Patreon.
Did. I think there's one where I wasn't around.
Oh, okay. So we're going back to our roots of that one episode.
Well, the audio is going to be much quieter because in editing, I noticed Joey has a lot of throughout his thing.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be super professional this time around.
Yeah, much better audio.
Before we get into it, just a quick thanks to our patrons, as always. We've had a bunch of new ones, and so just a huge thanks to you guys. Not only, like I always say, you help make this, or you're the reason that we have this podcast to begin with, but we are able to keep adding stuff to the channel. We have a lot of cool stuff planned for it. We're able to relaunch the website recently and different things like that. And so thanks to you guys. And also, if you guys are looking for Force of Will singles, sealed product, anything like that, including pre-ordering the next Force of Will set, they go to Happy Little Hug Factory in the description below. Make sure you click that link so they know we sent you. Right now, they have the pre-order for the next set up for $79.99, I believe, or $95. One of those. So really great price for that. So I highly recommend going there, as well as, like I said, singles, and they also have a buy list for Force of Will you can check out. And yeah, so we're going to be talking about the GPs, and we'll also have a very unique Ruler of the Week segment at the end of this. And we'll go and start with the GPs. If you guys want to sort of follow along and see more about GPs, we sort of revamped part of the website. Is we revamped how we display that, so you can just go to TCGScrubs.com, click on top 8 lists at the top of it, and it has 2018 lists, and you can. It goes from oldest to newest. So if you scroll to the bottom, you'll see the newest one for Padova and the other Montreal, and as well as any other top 8 list that you want to look up from any past GPs. It'll all be archived on our website, so you can always just visit there after a GP has happened, and we'll update it as quickly as information comes in, or rather Oscar will.
Yeah. On that, I'm going to switch it, not now, but later, that when you go to top 8 and hover over it, I'm going to go by seasons, like season 1, 2, and 3, since technically, next year will be 2018, but season 2 will be, or the next season will be happening, so.
I guess, if you're weird about that. And it
only makes sense.
And there's also the deck list tab, so I just added my mono panda deck list that we played in our most recent video. And the layout of that is basically, it'll just have the gacha log of the deck list, a text list version of the deck list, and then I have the top 5 cards in the deck and explain why those are the cards that you would want to keep inside of there. I don't know if Oscar will follow that same format or do something a little bit different. But if you want deck list, just click on that. And I want to at some point sort of change how that looks so it's a little bit different from the article section, easier to find the decks that you want. But for now, it's there, or you could just click the search button on our website to find the deck that you want, if it's on there. And we have other plans for it as well.
Yeah. But I'll have my Dark Elves done soon, hopefully.
Yeah. And I'll be putting up my iMule, if it's not already up there, I'll be putting it up soon by the time this podcast comes out, which I love iMule so much. So going into GPs, we had 2 this past weekend.
Yes, we did. Montreal and Padova.
You want
Sorry
to
if
do
I'm pronouncing that Padova wrong. I don't know if I am or not.
Padova.
I don't think you're wrong any R's.
You want to go over the base stats like attendance, different things like that, Oscar?
Yeah, so on Montreal, I know they said there's 59 in attendance. And I told you earlier how I wasn't 100% sure how many actually attended the Italy GP. It was 100 plus though. It was maybe 130, 160 range, I thought.
Yeah, it sounds like between like 130 or 170, somewhere in between that range. A decent number.
Actually, you know what? I think I know where that number is.
But, so it is pretty interesting. And these are also the first GPs since, first GPs since TSW came out. So we're getting at least a very rough idea. The first one after a set comes out is not always, it's a determiner of the strong decks, but not a determiner of the sort of dominating decks. So we'll see what dominates, and then the next GP, I think after this one, is when people will be like, okay, that's the strong decks, how do I counter that, etc., etc., and it'll sort of even out during the next competitions that we'll see, whether it be large ARGs or the next GP, something like that. 165
in attendance at Padova.
Okay.
And I agree with you, like, the way, that first, I think it was an ARG took place, and IU kind of came out and was like super strong. And then you go to fast forward to GP Atlanta, and it's like, oh, there's one that made top 8, and that was about it. So,
which was a surprise as well. For all intents, IU should be dead. There's enough counters to IU, and as soon as someone flips and you see it's an IU, it's like, there's not a whole lot of strategies for IU, unfortunately.
That's so crazy, right? But then you look at these two tournaments, and in the top 8, there's been at least one IU in each one.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It's very surprising that IU is able to make it, because it had that initial rush, and then a lot of decks, like I just said, you'll see them, and you'll be able to create counters and it'll balance it out. But IU, because of the design of the deck, it should be... The idea was you saw that IU deck, and you're like, okay, I could counter it like this inside of this deck, or this inside of this deck, etc., etc. And basically completely, there's a lot of ways to pretty easily shut it down. Even IMUL has counters to IU deck, technically, if you get past the OTK portion of it. So it made it so is very, just very surprising every time that I see an IU in the top 8, essentially. But, so...
I mean, it's like, I've almost lost slight interest in playing her recently, just because, not just because the Dark Elves are really fun, but I don't know, I feel like she is heavily countered. Like, I played Joey with his updated Fox deck that he was trying to do, and it hard countered it. I ended up winning best 2 of 3 between the two of us, but it was a very difficult time.
He had a bad time, so
that had a bad time, like so that deters me.
So you want to go into you said that was Montreal that had the IU?
They each had a top 8 that had an IU in it, from what I remember. Nice. But for Montreal, so the information we're getting is very limited. I haven't actually sat down and dug through it all and looked at every source I usually go through. But from what I'm able to see right now is on Montreal, I only see the top 3. And that's first place went to Bijman Bargetzi with Scheherazade. Second place went to Dylan Hunt, Lumia. Third was, Jean-Luc McKean with Kirik, which was awesome. Kirik did really well in Padova as well.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool. The Kirik, and you're talking about the Kirik list, which actually is right here, is very similar to the Prisha list of old with a well, at least people were saying it was, but now that I'm looking at it, it doesn't look anything like that.
I think the similarities in it is you're running green-red, and one of the main parts of it is a Maria Bella's in there. Other than that, yeah, it's its own thing with some green cards like True Blades, maybe some Lawrite if they decide to run Lawrite. The Maria Bella, you're not seeing things like Sacred Elves in it. You have other things that are going to help you burn as you go along. It seems to be everybody who
Real quick.
I feel.
Are you sure? He posted his list, and it's red, yellow.
See, I'm talking
seeing green.
I was talking like because I see about if you let me finish talking. I was saying I saw that a lot of people who went to go built them red green. We had Roderick who he just played at an ARG, but he had gotten second place at his ARG and it was a green red. The one in Italy was a green red, and then just in general people discussing it. That's the direction they're going.
But the one that actually won though was red yellow.
It won.
The one for that Jean.
Yeah, I didn't win. I got third place.
Yeah, that got third place.
Yeah.
But that was the highest placing Keurig at either GP.
Oh, was it?
Did the other GP get a higher placing with Keurig?
I haven't even looked at it yet. We haven't gotten there.
Well, no, I just say, well, no, because we were talking about red green. So, but his is red yellow, and his so his like ran obviously piggies. It ran God Pig. He ran PL, which is interesting. I wasn't that impressed with PL, but maybe I gotta actually see how she plays in the deck. It ran Dragonoid Doctor, which I was not a fan of, but I guess that makes sense if you're going Resonator heavy, right? I usually go Burn heavy and J-Ruler heavy, but he's going Resonator. He's going Resonator heavy. He has Flying Dragon. He has a play set of Ryula, Alabaster Dragon Princess, the one that either heals your ruler if it's dead, or you can put a Dragonoid with total cost 2 or less from your graveyard into your field. Oh. So he can grab PL out of his graveyard because that's a Dragonoid. Okay. Plus it also buffs Dragonoids +2/+2. So you just run a whole bunch of Dragonoids. That's cool. And then he runs, Ultra Dragon, Magic Sweets, Crimson Ray, Lightning Strikes, the basic stuff you'd expect. That's interesting because red yellow is really cool. It's really nice. The colors go together very nicely. It's what I had done with Sylvia before rotation. I was running red yellow, and that was cool because she passively produces green, so I was able to run Seal of Wind and Light also, which was fun. But that's cool to see red yellow. I really like that. I was super bummed out for a sec because you kept talking about red green. I was like, oh, that sucks. It's just red green, but he doesn't even run Severin Winds. He just went all in on red yellow. Yeah, I'm digging it.
So when I was looking at it, was all the Italy lists, and then Roderick's or second place win.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm digging this red yellow list.
You gonna build it? We'll
see.
You've been talking about building Keurig.
Yeah, but I feel like when I think of Keurig, I think of obviously. I mean, I guess if I want to be competitive, I would do red yellow or red green would be the way to go. Mm-hmm. But whenever I want to do Keurig, I'm I just want to go mono red and just go all in on the strength counters and burning and different things like that. As just building up strength counters for burn spells, burn effects, flipping and burning, and you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Maybe even going tricolor of red yellow and splashing a tiny bit of black in order to run inverse cards, that the spells at least, so that I can do things like preventing stuff from being destroyed, create banish effects, etc., to help a little bit more with control and keeping resonators and J-Rulers out. But yeah, no, I like that list. I don't see the other two lists, though.
Well, the one for first place has been asked for, and he said he, at the end of the tournament, did a interview, a video interview, so I'm guessing another YouTube channel. And
I assume DMO, right?
Yeah, I don't think he went to Montreal. There was no stream.
Well, no, a video interview.
Right.
Just means over Skype or something, I would assume.
The way he worded it made it sound like right at the tournament he went and did this interview real quick. I don't know. We'll see. Cool. Also, DMO said that he's never really done anything like that. But
yeah, he is.
Show me.
I'm looking at it. Anyways.
Anyways, so he said wait for the video to come out and you'd see it so that they can release it. And I don't see any second place list either. I also, like I said, I didn't hunt and search everything down.
Second place's name is Dylan Hunt. Mm-hmm. You didn't hunt it down. Anyways, so second place was Lumia. So I was curious about Lumia. I'm curious if any Lumias actually ended up running Rachel, if they determined that wasn't as crazy as people were making out to be. And if it did run Rachel, it obviously wasn't good enough to be first place against Scheherazade.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Was that all the info we had from Montreal? We didn't have any rotor breakdowns or anything?
No, that's all I have.
Yeah, at least.
Right now.
Yeah. Hopefully we'll get something. All right. You want to go for it? So like I said, there's not a lot of info to go off since not a lot of info has come out. So we just got that top 3. But I mean, 3 different rulers for the top 3. That's super cool. And Kirik is in the top 3, so I like that.
Yeah,
that's my thoughts on that.
Not bad. I was sad. I mean, it makes sense because I attempted to build her as well, and it was a struggle to even figure out how she's going to work and which direction you're going. But no Shayla's anywhere that made anything relevant in top 16, I want to say. Of course, keep in mind when I say this that we don't know the rest of, like, say, top 16 of Montreal, and for all we know, maybe there was one. But, like, looking at all the other places, like, at least they won Italy, we can see top 16. We can see she's not there, and that nobody's, speaking like, oh man, did you see Shayla's doing well? She's 3-0, 4-0, whatever, as we did with Kirik, which was like, hey, there's a Kirik, it's 5-0 right now. We're like, what? And then like, hey, what is it now? It's 6-0. It's like getting crazy. But and I think looking at it, 2 or 3 of them actually made it in top 16.
Oh,
Italy.
really?
Yeah. So switching over to Italy.
Yes.
I just said switching over to Italy.
Are you gonna read it, or you want me to read it?
Well, I didn't hear what you said. What did you say?
I didn't say anything. You said switching over to Italy, and then said nothing.
Well, yeah, because I noticed the conversation was moving, so I was like, so switching to Italy. But
anyway, go ahead.
Again, here we don't know the full top 8. We can only see top 4 right now, from what's been shared on things like Facebook and Reddit. But it's going to be Scheherazade, Lumia, and Lumia. So.
And then, so Sherry, Lumia, top 16, included in no particular order, 2 Lumias, 2 Kiriks. So like you said, 2 Kiriks made appearance in top 16. Whether either of those made it in the top 8, we're not 100% sure.
One did.
One did?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. 1 Ayu, the rogue Ayu, and then 11 Scheherazade.
Yeah, I think I had seen the Italy's top, I was mentioning to you earlier, and it was 4 Scheherazade, the Kirik, the Ayu, and I guess the 2 Lumias was the top 8 in Italy.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when we were eating earlier, I was mentioning it.
So the top, the Kirik that made it into top 8 is the red-green one. So he ran things like, he ran similar stuff as far as the base red. So he also ran God Pig, PL, Hoel Pig, Ultra Dragon. He ran a lot more play deads, and obviously since he's running green, he threw in Sylvia. And for the greens, he had stuff like Lorelite, like you said, True Blade, Tama, and Severine, Rapid Bear Growth. Interesting. He also ran Flaming Horse. The other Kirik didn't. So he also had an emphasis on judgment, it looks like, because not only did he run Flaming Horse, which gives swiftness to your J Ruler, but he also ran the Dragon of Matt Hoel, I think it's called, that gives your J Ruler flying, and when it enters the field, you grab a Battle Arts chance, something like that. So it looks like it was might have been like a heavy hitter deck, maybe, to getting Ultra. You want to J activate, grab Ultra Dragon or the dragon that helps give your J Ruler flying because of his unsealed ability now, and start just pounding it hard with Rapid Bear Growth, etc. So that's kind of cool. Do you think it's cool, Oscar?
Yeah. Sorry, I finally found, I think that the top 8 I had just given was actually Montreal. I found the Montreal top 8, which is 4 Scheherazade, 1 Ai, 1 Kirik, 2 Lumia.
Okay, so that was Montreal?
Yeah. Okay,
we'll come back to that in a sec. So that Kirik list is pretty interesting. I like it. It's not too out there with the green and all that. It feels pretty balanced in like how red-green should interact. Mm-hmm. As far as the first place Scheherazade, it looks pretty much like what you would think. It is 3 colors, so it's green, black, and yellow. The yellow is used for things like Ryula to heal your Scheherazade, which is something I mentioned to you I thought would be good, being able just to continually flip and have that effect hit again, which the interesting thing on here is they only have 1 enormous effigy, it looks like. Mm-hmm. And they run play sets of a couple other random dolls.
So yeah, so 2 things is, one, like the approach I had taken and people seen videos of, they watch our gameplay, was obviously you're going green black. I knew there was a need to be another color. Originally I had gone red, and then another build included red and blue, Then I just went straight up blue. And then watching this on stream, I was like, yeah, no, it's a really good idea just to go straight up white. Because the search abilities from like the Kaguya's Moving Butterfly and Farya's, what's it called, Summon? Just watching those in action. And what was it? There was something that he was doing with...
And also, he was playing Gil, the 3-cost Gil, black, yellow, in order to search out a 1-cost white or black chant, which you can use to grab Final Battle. You can use it to grab Thought Control. And also, it looks like he ran, I think it's Flourishing Hope. I don't remember the picture, but I assume it's Flourishing Hope. But yeah, continue.
No, I was just saying, the Gil thing, that's something even somebody at our locals, Sean, was getting into, is using that just to search down the final battles, just to use those against us. I guess in his case, he was searching the Flourishing Hope, but...
Yeah, and it's something I don't know if it's still in my side deck, but it was at least a concept of putting into my Aimu deck, was throwing in that Gil and a couple other of those cards from that era, Lapis era, that are that black-yellow. There's a lot of black-yellow cards that work in Aimu from that era that I was trying to experiment with. And I think people are rediscovering how good it is to have a body on your field that searches out a card. A chant of either color is pretty decent.
Yeah, and I thought it was funny, and if you look at the next list as well, the what's it called? The one that looks like a squirrel that destroys an addition.
Yeah.
The next list runs 2 of them. He runs 1. I had seen it with him. I saw him with it in his hand, and I was like, why is he running that? That's dumb. Just run the other one I had talked about. What's it called? You see in the bottom of the first list. I already forgot its name.
Yeah.
And what's it called?
I don't know. I'm not on the first list.
Oh. Anyways, whatever that one where you has a broken mirror looking thing on it, guys, you can comment below if you know it. I'm really tired today. I was wondering why he didn't run that, but it was interesting because his opponent was a Lumia. They played down the 3-cost addition that removes the card from game and says you can't play anymore the same name. And he was able to play down that doll just to destroy that addition. It was interesting. Watching these Sherry decks play, I was surprised with the number of dolls they actually end up running in them. I was kind of surprised, especially since I had play with it. Obviously, I'm not a super good player, but I thought that only the dolls worth playing were the effigies, and earlier builds had the Eva as well as that whatever that other one is that.
See, I had disagreed because I had thought that dolls, just the fact that they have quick cast, being able to surprise your opponent by dropping stuff down, and for whether it's for blockers or you could do it in response to them putting down addition while it's on their turn, so you're not triggering Severing Winds, but still getting a body on the field and doing an effect and different things like that, I think is still really strong. So you want to have these lower cost dolls so you can keep just populating your field and doing different combos with them potentially. But I'm still surprised by the number of dolls. I still wouldn't have run that many, so that is pretty interesting. That just like this guy, second place ran 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. It looks like 15. Ran 15 dolls in their deck. That's a very large portion of your deck. That's 25%. I don't know. I'm bad, man.
Yeah. Another thing I want to point out real quick is the Sacred Elves. Watching this deck in action, they're usually in play. And I had seen a post in the US group on Facebook that said, I think somebody had put up a list either for this or something else that had Sacred Elves in it. And I remember seeing one of the comments was like, I don't think Sacred Elves are relevant as meta anymore. They're not going to stick. And I was like, I don't know. They're sticking pretty hard in these like top 8 matches.
Yeah, no, I don't know who said that.
One thing.
So, go ahead.
One thing I did notice that was a big, I think, nuisance to these Scheherazade decks was, and this is probably why you need more of those dolls to either destroy or that chant that destroys additions, was if you look at this Lumia list real quick, they were running, oh my gosh, every single card name's escaping me right now, guys.
What does it look like?
The blue one that prevents rulers from using their activate abilities.
Shackles of Ice?
Shackles of Ice. To shut down Scheherazade from flipping cards over in her extra deck, which was pretty great.
That's
and
good.
some of them were sideboarding 2 of them, and there's one list here that actually mainboarded 1 of them, which is actually pretty smart.
Yeah, I would have mainboarded because in this current meta, there's just the sheer amount. I guess there's not that many, but the amount of higher up rulers that have abilities that Shackles can counter outside of Sherry, I think there's at least a couple that it would work against. So, speaking of which, in answer to my earlier question, yes, the Lumias did run Rachel.
Yeah.
Both these Lumia lists one ran 3, the other ran 4 Rachels, and I don't know how big that factored into how their deck played, if it was revolved around the Rachels. I'm looking at the 3rd place one right now. I assume it's 3rd. They actually don't say if it's 3rd and 4th. It might be in any order.
It just said top 4
for the remaining 2. Yeah. But like they have a lot of removal, like Heteroclite Excalibur. They run True Blade. They run Bear Magic, Millennia Bond. So it's a lot of just controlling, it looks like, Lorelite. And so the only resonators, that they run is Bird, which helps with control for your hand. They run the 5-cost guy from the constructed deck, which is pretty cool. The 5-cost that does 2 effects and is quick cast. And then the 4-cost or 3-cost Blazer from the starter deck as well. The black one that you look at your opponent's hand and remove any card you want, and it puts a counter on him. And then Rachel and Melfi and Tama are the resonators. So yeah, it looks like as far as just I'd say it definitely revolves around Rachel and possibly Blazer. And blinking them essentially. I guess you could blink the 5-cost guy, but it's not as big a deal.
It was.
I'm just thinking of all the blinking you could do with these, all the different cool effects. But
I mean, it was definitely interesting. I was watching. It was the Scheherazade that made first play with one of these Lumia decks. I'm not sure which one he actually played. It was either one of these. But no, I expected tons of Rachels to be coming in and bouncing in and constantly coming in from all the hype that you saw in the groups. It wasn't that bad. They'd get a Rachel in, look at top 3. It's like, it's unfortunate they're going to discard like a Severing Winds and a Lawrite or something like that, or any combo card that the Scheherazade deck needed. And then when there was a cool interaction, I was like, ooh, because it looks super complicated. Lumia player swung with the Rachel, passes turn, and goes to flicker the Rachel. The opponent, who is a Scheherazade deck, plays a Lawrite to cancel the ability. That guy plays a Lawrite to cancel that Lawrite's ability. Then that guy plays Fair Spell to cancel that Lawrite. And then that player plays his Fair Spell to cancel that Fair Spell. And then it just ends in a Severing Winds, I think it was, or another Lawrite, I forget. It ended up with the Lawrite to go back down a tier to cancel the Lawrite again, I think is what it was. And it was hilarious because they had to pause the game for a second to figure out the order of the chase because they were just stacking all these cancels on top of each other. In the end, he didn't get to flicker the Rachel. He got it canceled pretty hard. But that was pretty cool.
I don't know how I feel about that, but it sounds funny at least.
It was pretty entertaining.
And an interesting thing to note as I looked at this other Lumia list is the other Lumia didn't run the Lumia Resonator, which was a really big part of Lumia decks. This next Lumia does runs a playset of them and a playset of Rachel's. So it looks like this Lumia list actually is built around Rachel because everything else is spells that control your opponent and search out resonators, different things like that. And the only thing they run playsets of that are resonators is Rachel and that Lumia Resonator. And the Lumia Resonator can pull out cards to help you search out the Rachel. So if I had to guess, this would be this specific deck that tried to go all in on the Rachel.
I would say so
and
too.
Whether it gained the edge on the other Lumia deck, like I said, we're not sure because we don't know which one plays 3rd and 4th. But yeah, so
because they had Kaguya's Moonmeat Butterfly, which is probably helping search those Rachels out. You have the I forget what it's called, the black card on the top 3rd one over, where it is a 3-cost or 2-cost.
Rune Story.
It's what?
Rune Story?
No. I'm looking at the last list.
Oh, the third or the
fourth
list.
Whatever, fourth. Yeah, and because that one would pull Rachel out of the graveyard, put her back into the field, stuff like that.
And before if you guys, in case we don't have what we're talking about on the screen, which we probably won't because you won't be able to read it anyways. Like I said, TCGScrubs.com. Just click on the top 8 list for GP Padova if you want to follow along with us and see what exactly we're talking about.
And I apologize with all these names just slipping my mind and the pauses and breaks. Like it's been a long day.
Yeah, you should feel pretty bad. But yeah, so real quick, I'm gonna. Did you have any last thoughts on those top 4?
No, just interesting stuff. I want to tinker around with like the shares that I have. So I guess I do have something to say. I want to tinker around with the shares that I have, and probably switch to light and see how that runs. See what these are like. And I've been wanting to do a Lumia deck, but I had no idea how to approach it. So I might give one of these a shot. I don't like the one that's like the 3rd list. I kind of like that 4th list a little bit better. But I don't know. We'll see.
So, gonna give my thoughts here. I was like, I'm gonna go click on the top 16 deck list, see what the top 16 deck lists were. Which once again, if you guys are curious on that, we'll probably just link the top 16 deck lists rather than like try and port them all over. But kind of frustrating. Like I said, first GP, so this will hopefully sort itself out by the next GP. But I'm like just scrolling through and it's just like Scheherazade, Keurig, Sherry for the rest of the time. So that's kind of like looking at the first place of Montreal Sherry, and I think you said there's 4 Sherrys in top 8. For this GP, like we said, there's 11 of the 16 decks. Only 5 decks were not Sherry in the top 16. The remaining 11 were Sherry. So that's a little frustrating. It's something I had told Oscar when we had discussions about like what we think decks are going to be, and I'd mentioned that I think Scheherazade is going to be the new top tier deck. I originally thought it was going to be Gil, but then they printed a hard counter. Two hard counters? 1 hard counter? Doesn't matter. There's at least 1 hard counter to Gil that renders him completely and utterly useless. So that's why we didn't see any Gil. In case anyone was wondering, Gil was, which is for the best because Gil was almost on the verge of being completely broken, in my opinion. So it's one of those things I don't really like because they overprinted Gil, made Gil this crazy powerful thing, in my opinion, or potentially be. And to counter that, they created this crazy powerful thing that also counters other decks and all that stuff. And it's like, this could have all been solved if you just cut the power levels down here instead of up here. Because if you just had a medium counter to a medium deck, that's not going to snuff out the deck. But if you have a high power deck, but then a high power counter, then that deck is completely snuffed out and we don't even get to see the high power deck. But anyways, the point I was getting to is, I thought that Scheherazade was going to be a big one. And the reason is, without putting any cards into your main deck, without doing anything, just your story deck, by default, you're either countering 5 different decks you can come across without doing. That's Oscar's dog, in case people are wondering. Yeah. It snores. Passively, you're countering 5 different decks without having to side deck into anything, or you're having multiple counters to one deck. Or versatile stuff like Rune Story is ridiculously strong. Not overpowered or anything, but it's just the versatility of Rune Story is super good. So that you passively have that in your story deck without running anything in your main deck. Like when I was playing Aimul, he's able to play 2 costs, gets rid of all my inverse or 1 cost. He's able to play the Rune Story to make me banish stuff. He can play the 1 cost to remove everything in my graveyard from game, so I can't play the chance to pull stuff out of my graveyard that I run in Aimul. Different things like that. So he had at minimum 3 counters in his story deck. And so my point was, because Scheherazade can counter stuff passively before you build your deck, you now have this deck that's a blank slate that can do a multitude of things. You can go aggro with it, you can go control with it because of how it can run different cards and different colors fairly easily, and you just need the base green-black, essentially, kind of, for your story deck. And you can run you can go like Oscar and go enormous effigies, which is sort of aggressively J-activating and triggering all your legend effects and things like that. So because of the design of Scheherazade, it's able to counter stuff without being a counter deck. And so because of that, I think that we're going to be seeing a lot of Sherry, even if people figure out a way to counter Sherry, like you said, with Shackles of Ice. I think there's still, because like you said, there's a Dolph that comes in and destroys editions. So it literally has every utility it needs to survive in the current meta. Whether that plays out in the same way we saw Fair play out, where it just makes it no fun to play against, like what keeps happening and repeating, which is kind of annoying, but R4 I have high hopes for. But what are your thoughts on all that?
So I'll start off by saying I don't think obviously it's an issue yet with Scheherazade, because like the way it was with, like, say, Fair days, Fox days, Prisha days, Reflect Refrain, where it dominated top 8s, and it was like majority of them with like 1 or 2 slots off. So it's not, to me, it's not an issue yet. Now, something I will say is something that people are probably wishing for. Something people were probably wishing for that didn't end up being a thing was maybe the stats to show that Rachel is an issue, and I don't think that any of these results showed that yet. I saw some pictures from Italy that when you're going through people playing, and I was like, oh, look, every single table here has a Rachel in play. But if you look at these lists, the only ones that had Rachels in it were the Lumia decks, and then even then they didn't get first and second. And I think overall, all cards run, it was the third highest or fourth highest card run at Italy was a Rachel. So I think those numbers need to be like grossly higher for it to even be, like, say, a consideration thing. So,
and I just want to say I still think Rachel is stupidly overpowered, mainly because she would have been not perfect, but a pretty balanced card if she just had the first effect of looking top 3 cards and milling them, because I really like mill. But her second effect of anywhere she goes, whether she's bounces, graveyard, removed from area, back into the deck, no matter what, you get to search your deck for any card you possibly can think of. It's just a weird thing to add on that, and I don't know why they added that to there. So I still think I think it's too strong. But that being said, I don't think, with the exception of the one Lumia deck, I don't think we saw many things trying to go as hard into Rachel as we thought they were going to. And whether that's because through testing they found out it doesn't work as well as people were hyping up to be, or maybe they didn't want to risk it and play a little bit more safe with the Rachel inside of their deck. I'm not sure, because I also don't think the deck lists don't look how I thought they would. I would have guessed that they would have looked running if they went to go hard in on Rachel. I would have think they would have gone, especially inside of a Lumia deck, splash in yellow so you can have stuff. Well, they did splash in yellow, but splash in yellow cards so that you can rest stuff the turn it comes in, so you can get the double effect of Rachel. Maybe go all in with a super. I never made that deck, did I? Shoot. You guys were supposed to remind me, you podcast listeners, that I was supposed to make a super trolly deck and see if I could. I had a deck idea written somewhere that basically was going to try and be an OTK deck. Just like those super one-trick pony decks that are OTKs. But instead of OTK of doing damage to your opponent, it was going to try to be an OTK of decking your opponent out all in one turn. And I had the bare bones skeleton of it. So I got to go. So you guys need to actually remind me this time to make it. And do a Troll Thursday or something gameplay video. But point is, I think people were afraid to go all in on Rachel because they weren't sure if it was going to work, or maybe in their testing it didn't work. Because those lists didn't look the way I would have expected them to look if they were. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get you. I'm just looking more right now at the events we have coming up that could help change things, I guess, going forward. And I was just looking, like, April 7th is a GP in the U.S. It's Minneapolis. April 14th, San Jose, California, which is the ARG. London, UK on April 14th. So a lot of things are going to be happening in April. There's even one in Japan on April 15th.
Are those on New Frontiers?
These are all New Frontiers as far as I can see. Sorry, I can't clear my throat. The only ones at risk at not being New Frontiers would be the ones in North America, because I never heard of anybody else in the world actually doing that. And even then, I think the next one that was sealed was in Denver, Colorado, so it should be fine. But between now and, let's say, the next set actually coming out, or even maybe being spoiled, there's several events that take place, which we can see, where everything is landing, and with how hardcore they are on watching everything, I have faith in them.
Yeah. No, and especially, hashtag in Jeff we trust. So moving on into our uniquer ruler of the week this week. So I thought it'd be cool because this week we've been talking to a lot of people about doing epic stories and stuff like that because it's a lot of fun to play. If you guys don't know what it is, we should have a video coming up this week explain what it is in more detail, as well as we'll have a pinned thing on our homepage at TCGScrubs.com that you'll be able to go to and click on to see how you play it, the rules of it, etc. So hopefully that'll be up. If it's not up already, like tomorrow or sometime. And then this Thursday, we're going to have gameplay that we had streamed to our Twitch, just because, if you guys aren't aware, we have a Twitch that we stream to once every 6 or 7 months.
Well, I would say let's start streaming there more when we do the gameplay with like you, me, and Joey and whatnot. So if you guys want to go follow it, what's the link to that?
It's just twitch.tv/TCGScrubs.
Okay.
And you can just follow it. What I'm thinking we'll do is whenever we get a chance, because we usually we do Mondays our physical gameplay video, and Thursdays our Lackey gameplay video to get the best of both worlds, depending on what you guys prefer. And so my thought was, since we're doing Lackey anyways, and when we play it is usually like the weekend before that Thursday, so we'll just stream it to Twitch, and then I'll throw my overlay and edit out the little bits of it and throw it up on Thursday. So,
because Joey's a long thinker, guys. It's really bad.
Yeah, it's
he's like, oh, there's a time where he's like, all right, Oscar, how much I need to kill you? Let me math real quick. It's like, just swing. Yeah, you got it. You're gonna kill me like in 2 or 3.
You guys will see, yeah. But Epic Stories is basically you make a deck of 60 cards. You can only have one copy of any card inside of the deck. You run 2 rulers. You can only call 1 stone per turn with the ruler's effect, and you can only the judgment rules of calling a stone are still identical. You can't judgment 2 rulers at the same time. As a basic overview.
The stone calling and judgment is not identical to normal play. If you called a stone, you can no longer judgment. So that was the workaround. Because in normal play, you can call a stone if you can recover judgment. But this, if you call the stone that turn, you can't judgment anymore.
Yeah.
And other than that, it's to people still confused and familiar with Magic, it's EDH from what Joey tells us.
Yeah, and you can have more than 2 people playing. It's actually more fun the more people you have playing.
I would say so. Matter of fact, it looks like it's really, I want to say slowly taking off. I don't want to hype it up too much. Because, I mean, because I got back into it because of a post I had seen. Like, I had talked to you guys coming from GP Richardson, like, hey, we should play this. It was a lot of fun. We played it over there with all those guys. And lost some steam on convincing y'all. Saw the article show up from Monica, and I was like, let's start playing this again, guys. It looks like a lot of fun. And it's gained some popularity. There's some people who aren't into it. Like, there's the post that was recently made by Monica. They said if they had a budget deck, would you want to play more? And there's a lot of no's on that. But I like it. It's so much fun.
We'll try and change it. I'll, like I said, with our article and our video of how to, and then our gameplay, that all is coming out this week. 3 different things for Epic Stories coming out this week. I'm going to try and share it, and we'll try and you guys should share those videos when they come out and try and get people into it, because it's a lot of fun.
Your 2 dudes heading up the whole like what the ban list should be and helping regulate the rules is Frank Klosser and Brandon Bremont. And matter of fact, our article writer for the week will be Frank Klosser, so it'd be pretty cool. I was gonna be the one who wrote the article, and I was sitting there writing it, and I was like, yeah, this is not good. Hey, Frank, you want to write this article? He's like, yeah, sure, I'll do it. I was like, yes. saved people, saved you guys from reading a subpar article.
But yeah, so for our ruler of the week, instead of choosing like a ruler and then choosing a card for it in the spirit of the Epic Stories, we figured we'd just like choose a combo of 2 rulers that we, not necessarily like, oh, these are strong, you should make a deck around it, but something that we think is fun to put together for an Epic Stories deck, and sort of explain why and the interactions that work with it.
Yeah, something on Epic Stories I'll mention before we jump into these is every single card Forcible's ever released is legal, so that means Valhalla can be used. For what we've picked today, though, and some of the videos we would do going forward, we're going to stick just strictly to the Grim Up, since Valhalla is a difficult thing to obtain. And
not in the video coming out this week. We used Valhalla in this week's video.
Well, yeah, because it's a lot of fun. Have y'all seen some of these Valhalla cards? There's something that stops judgment. That's insane.
There's something that stops you from playing cards from anyone's hand and playing abilities of anything else, so you're just stuck with what's on the field because you can't play a card to get rid of that field card that's doing that.
Yeah, so 1, there's a hard stop to judgment. 2, there's a passive stop to judgment where it's like, as long as Reser is in the field, nobody can do judgment. 3, There is a card that says if there's no resonators in play, then you play the card. It's, what was it called? Time of Ragnarok. And both players have to do judgment on the spot. And then I forget what happens after that. And the interesting part, real quick, I'm sorry. It says if a ruler cannot do judgment, such as tree or what else is Gil? No, not Gil.
Yeah.
Is it Gil?
Grim.
Then destroy that ruler. And I'm like, wait. Is that
I was about to say, yeah.
Out of play? Do you like just kill it? It's crazy stuff. Obviously, you don't play with the break mechanic at all. You ignore anything that mentions it. Go ahead, Colin.
Yeah. No, that's what I was going to talk about. There's a way to destroy rulers, actual rulers, and there's additions you can attach to the enemy ruler, like the ruler itself and stuff. It's hilarious, but
that
a lot
said,
of people don't play with that.
Yeah, we're going to ignore those for now. We're going to stick just strictly Grim Plus. And one thing you want to do when you pick your two rulers is usually just try to synergize them together and make them either work really well together or have some sort of cool mechanic that flows throughout the deck with itself. And one last bit is there's color identity between the two rulers, and it's whatever symbols are printed on the rulers that are not included within barrier, because barriers are minor text. And that lets you know what colors you're going to run your deck. So you're going to run like blue, green, white, and void cards. And something you have to be careful of is like on Regalia, since they're void, but you can't run on Regalia, especially some that say produce will of certain color like red, because then that's a red color identity card. So a little complicated. It'll be more detailed in the video. But Colin, why don't you go first?
An article.
All
right, so I'm going to do the two rulers that you'll be seeing in the gameplay coming out Thursday. Not necessarily that they're great, to make a great deck, but just because I found the interactions a lot of fun. And that's, so I run Machina, Mechanical Emperor, I think his name is. And I run the other Machina from BFA. So the idea behind it is because you have the Machina that has, from, I forget which set it's from, but it has the passive ability of X. You can pay any cost you want to search your deck for a Resonator edition with no attribute with that total cost or less. I think 40 cards in the deck are no attribute cards, most of which are Resonators and or additions. So it's a way to search out cards because you can only run one copy of any card in the deck. So being able to search for cards is extremely strong inside of Epic Story. So being able to do that once per turn, including once on your turn, once on Oscar's turn, then once on Joey's turn, and then once on someone else's turn, and then back and do it again on my turn, is really cool. And then I run the other one. Oh, and then obviously when he judgments, I'm able to put up to 3 Resonators or additions with no attribute from my hand into the field. Not everything I run is a machine. A lot of it is just no attribute. So being able just to play stuff for free into the field that is most likely in my hand is really good. And then he also gets other effects off of machines. So it just works really well inside of a deck that's 80% no attribute cards. Mm-hmm. The other one I run from BFA is really cool because the ruler side technically has all 5 attributes. So now I can officially run any card I want inside of the deck that runs any attribute color. So I have access to blue, which is really important for a mechanical deck. I run black for things like Moonbeam and Destruction, and I run green for some cancels and different things like that. And and then his judgment is able to search your deck for 2, assuming I have a loose Memoria onto the field, which usually I do. I get to search my deck for up to 2 machines with total cost 7 or less and put them straight into the field. So once again, going back to that search function, this one's limited to machines rather than no attribute, but it still works out well because I have almost every machine in the game inside of the deck. And so I'm able to get 2 with total cost 7 or less, or maybe just one that's a total cost 6 or 7. Or I don't think there's one like that, but still. And just put them straight into the field, so it helps with that search function. He gets buffs from other machines and other effects as well. So I just love the flavor of just 2 machine rulers doing their work and stuff. Like, yeah. I like flavorful stuff. That's probably what I'm going to aim for with all my Epic Stories deck. Either flavor or trolling is my 2 things that I'll be looking at. I have a troll deck that I made that is all ready to go for our next gameplay. But nice. Yeah. You want to go yours, Oscar?
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit preview for Colin to what I'm going to be running next time we play, which is going to be against this troll deck. I can only hope I can do some good, I guess, and make it. But to me, the way I look at it is like I want to see what's working with each other, not necessarily like would you say trolling and what story or whatever.
Eh. Flavor.
I'm looking more like what's working with each other. And now, my first one I'm going to mention is Friend of Another World Kaguya. It's the green-white Kaguya that says you can spin moon as though it were wind. And whenever you play a moon enters the field, she draws a card. So I'm playing her, and the goal is one, I have access to green and white. I can run her cancel that she comes with. I can run some of the one of the elves that taps to produce moon. I run a lot of stuff that will help me produce moon in this deck, and it's also in the stone deck. So the color identity doesn't apply to the stone deck. So I actually have the two different stones that produce moon from back in Grim, plus the ones from Alice Cluster, which was the green moon and black moon cards. And the reason why I'm going really hard on the moon on this is because my other ruler is Moon Princess of Stellar Wars. She has a G activated pay 2 void and X and spin only moon on X. And the reason why that's important is because, by the way, in a perfect world, I can get 7 moon on X if I'm not interrupted and things stay in play. When she flips over, she says, enter, search your main deck for X treasury item cards and put them into your field. So I run tons of treasury item cards. 1, I run 12 kimonos. 2, I run any of the resonators or additions that classify themselves as treasury items unless they were not, working well with the deck. So I have the moon that says you can't destroy additions if it's in play, but you can destroy the moon technically, so then you can destroy additions later. So it slows people down at least. But she also has the continuous ability of this card gains plus 200 for each treasury item you control. So again, perfect world. If I get like 7 of those additions in, they're treasury items. Maybe some of the other treasury items are already in play. She's like something like a 34, 1000 resonator. Sorry, J ruler. And then she has an activated banish 3 treasure items, gain control of target resonator. So she can just grab things and take it with her. And sometimes it could be in response to maybe a blocker. So not bad.
And in case you guys are wondering, yes, Kimono and Croco Shark override the one in the deck rule. That sounds super cool.
Yeah, I was going through it, and I was originally going to do like another Seer of the Blue Moon deck with like Kaguya, the green-white one. I was like, no, I don't know. I'm just doing it because they're Kaguyas, and I was like, oh, look at this one. This actually might work. Maybe there's a better green-white ruler, not the Kaguya. And I was like, nah, I was gonna run these because they have the moon interactions and stuff like that. So
the flavorful interaction, yeah.
I don't think it's flavorful. I mean, the only flavor you guys is 2 versions of Kaguya, one that's reborn and the other one that's just normal. But no, it's a fun little deck. And it really depends on not having addition destruction hit me really hard. But I don't know, I like it. I've only been able to play test it with myself, like simulating some draws and whatnot, but it's pretty good.
Yeah. No, that's pretty awesome. I'm excited to see that.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys watch our Thursday game, maybe you'll be able to see it too on a later week, if enough people like it. But
or they can tune in Thursday on the stream and watch us on Twitch playing them with each other.
We're gonna play it on Thursday,
or Wednesday. When are we playing?
I don't know. Whenever I'm not busy.
Okay, guys. So check out our Facebook and Twitter, and maybe we'll update when we're gonna get ready to stream.
I mean, we'll post on Facebook whenever we do it, so people don't have Facebook. I mean, if they follow us on Twitch, they'll get a notification when we go live.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no, I like that. Joey, and when you guys see it, we got rid of we just among ourselves decided not to do the ruler that technically hasn't, because of its effect, you're able to call 2 stones every single turn. And we said no to that.
Yeah, Joey made a really try-hard deck, and we're like, let's make some fun decks. Let's really show this off. Let people be like, man, this is cool. Yeah, I want to give it a shot. And Joey's like, okay, cool. So I'm going to call a stone, and I'm going to tap her to look at the top 3 cards of my stone deck. I'm going to put a white one into play. It's like, cool, I'm getting 2 stones per turn. On top of that, his other ruler was Reflect Refrain, so...
Yeah.
So it's getting pretty bad pretty quickly. So we told him, hey, tone it down a bit. Let's make these fun. We're showing this off as like a really fun thing, because the point is you're using old cards you don't get to use. You're gonna have fun with a bunch of people. Yeah, you can try hard. You can build your own like competitive decks and go play. It's not an issue, but for our sake, we want to show you guys it's really neat.
And it's cool because it's such a cheap mode to get into because you're only getting one of those cards. So even if you come across an expensive card, you only got to put one of it in there. Mm-hmm. You're not trying to do max rarity or anything. But a lot of the cards, because they're Wanderer format cards, are extremely cheap to get and relatively easy to get outside of Valhalla because so many places just were flooded with Wanderer cards. So anything that's non-Wander, you probably have somewhere in your collection that you pulled at some point. So I really enjoy it, and we'll have our other normal stuff as well. Like I want to make my Wanderer deck and I have my Pauper deck, everything's like that. A lot of formats that people are really getting into that we want to follow and make sure that we provide content for, because it's really cool that people are getting into this other stuff. But
and it definitely won't pull away from anything. Like this week will be a lot of fun introducing the format, so it may pull a little bit this week, but just going forward it's going to be like a little bit of everything here and there.
Yeah, like our Monday games still are New Frontiers, which you'll get to see my IMO deck, which I love. And
I gotta go edit that video real quick.
Yep.
But I don't know.
But yeah,
let me know. Like I usually have one question for you guys in the comments. So, given epic stories, it's gonna happen. Now, would you be interested in watching like a 4 or 5 player game if we were to play one in real life, like down the road? That could be a 30-minute video. No, it's not gonna be a 30-minute video. It could be an hour video, hour and a half, 2 hours. We don't know how long that could be. But would that be something that you guys would even consider? Would you be interested in seeing it? It'd be there at least. So you can click it if you want to or not. Because, I mean, if we can get a couple of our other friends to play and just set up one camera just looking down the entire time and just play for fun amongst ourselves, that'd be pretty fun.
Be cool to set together like a thing with our higher up patrons of doing just a 5-person epic stories game mode or something like that every month or something like that would be fun. But yeah, I think that's about it for today's podcast.
Yeah.
Any wrap-up thoughts?
I would say it's not necessarily a slow week, but it was a little different without Joey. I'm used to that third opinion really just chiming in here and there.
Yeah.
Because it gives me time, especially like on days where I'm tired, just to zone out for a few seconds, and I couldn't do that today. But even though I kind of did.
Yeah, we totally forgot that he wasn't going to be here this weekend because we had some people in mind that we want to come on and get as guests pretty soon here. And if I was smart, I would have realized he was gone and set that up for this week. But something to look forward to for upcoming weeks. I haven't messaged them yet, but I'm going to start messaging people.
Anybody y'all guys would want to see, maybe we can ask them. If they agree, they might stop by, hopefully.
Yeah, or comment if there's other creators you want to see, interact with, comment below, but also comment on their videos and let them know, because that's the easiest way.
We want to get Red Zone Rogue over here, because that's somebody we haven't collaborated with yet that does forcible content. Yeah,
there's Red Zone, there's other people, but it's super awkward, like, contacting them. Yeah. So if you guys contact them for us.
I mean, first of all, it's not super awkward. I just haven't done it because I want to see.
Oscar thinks everything is awkward. You get out of here.
What, you mean message him right now? I'll message him right now. Look, I'll pull it up right now. Look, boop. Boop. Guys, you know what? Stay with me. I'm gonna message Red Zone. What's his name? Actually, don't say his name. I don't know if he wants
to. I don't know if his name is public or not.
Don't worry. I know who has him as a friend here.
Is it me?
No. Oh, are you our friends? No.
Yes, I am friends.
I was going to Jay Rivers page because I know Jay Rivers friends with him. Sorry. No.
Also, I want to have Jay Rivers again sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. I think I found him. Yes, it's too much of friends. Watch, I'm doing it right now, guys.
For the couple people that are still listening, this is because
the podcast is over. This is just us lingering.
The couple people that were here that left when we're like, okay, I think that's it, and then you guys are the stragglers.
Yeah.
Comment below # I'm a straggler. Straggler, struggle.
All right, I said, hey man, Oscar with TCGScrubs. Wanted to see if you'd like to come on our podcast sometime. That's good, right? I saw on Twitter he's sick. He's been home all day.
You're terrible, so you're messaging when he's sick.
He opened up a box of, I think, Amon Ket and pulled some pretty good cards from the looks of it. All right, here goes.
Sent. Oh, you didn't send it? Wow.
All right, guys. Yeah. Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Thanks to our patrons for all the support they give us. And thanks for watching.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
Bye.